Hi there. Welcome back. Estamos de novo, peraí. Hi there. My name is Fred Macedo. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my friends Ruben and Rosangela and for another Gospel at Home. Before we start, I will ask Rosangela for our initial prayer. Please, Rosangela.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you. Now I will share my screen. The Book of the Spirits, question 647. The dividing of natural law. Is the entire law of God contained in Jesus' maxim of loving one neighbor? This maxim certainly reaffirms all humankind's duties toward each other, but is necessary to show them its application, because otherwise they will neglect such duties as they in fact do nowadays. Moreover, natural law covers all life circumstances, and this particular maxim refers to only one of its aspects. People need rules. General and overly vague precepts leave too many doors open to interpretation. 648. What do you think of the dividing of natural law into 10 parts, covering the law of worship, labor, reproduction, preservation, destruction, society, progress, equality, liberty, and lastly, the law of justice, love, and charity? The dividing of God's law into 10 parts comes from Moses and covers all the circumstances of life, that which is essential. You may follow that division, although, like other classification systems, it does not contain anything absolute. Such systems always depend on the point of view from which a subject is considered. The last law is the most important, since through it humans can advance the furthest in the spiritual life. It, sum, it sums up all the others. Um, he said about the law of justice, law, and charity. When uh, Jesus uh, he his he summarized all the lessons, all the teachings, saying, "Love God above all the things on earth," meaning that everything we have, we detain, that is in our lives are just a mean, a way to live here. And he also said that we must do to our neighbors what we want to receive meaning we must learn to love our neighbor because uh, if we have the same father that is God, our neighbor, good or bad, is our brother. So um, if we do all these things, we certainly are progressing. I will read a small part of the beginning of the chapter. Good and evil. 6 to 9. What the definition may be given to morality. Morality is the rule of good conduct. In other words, is the ability to distinguish between good and evil. It is founded on the observance of God's law. Humans behave correctly when they do everything for the good of all. For then they obey God's law. So, what can we say about that? That our free will is given to us to distinguish be- between what is good and what is evil. And God expects us to to um, to go wrong in 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 various in a lot of aspects of our lives because there is cause and effect. When we do bad things, the law of justice, love, and charity enters, and we are asked to to remanage our efforts in a good way. 6:30. How can we distinguish between good and evil? Good is everything that is in harmony with God's law, whereas evil is everything that deviates from it. Thus, going what is good conforms to God's law, while doing evil infringes on it. 6:31. Do humans have the means within them to distinguish between good and evil? Yes, when they believe in God, the desire to know the difference. God has given them intelligence to discern one from the other. 6:32. Since humans are prone to error, couldn't they be mistaken in discerning good from evil and believe that they are doing what is good, when in reality they are doing what is evil? Jesus says, do unto others what you would want them to do unto you. That sums up everything. You'll never go wrong. It's important to say that when we put on the other shoes, meaning when we put ourselves in the situation of others and more, when we think about what we are going to do, if we receive from other just what we want to do, we can never go wrong, because if that what what we would do bothers us, if we receive just as that, then we have a good guide of what we must not do, because we feel a small portion of the pain that we would do to others. 633. The rule of good and evil, which may be called the rule of reciprocity of solidarity, does not apply to individuals on conduct regarding themselves. Can they find a rule and a safe guide from such conduct in natural law? When you eat too much, it harms you. Well then, that is God let you know how much you really need, and when you exceed it, you are punished. The same applies to everything else. Natural law outlines from all humans the limit of their needs, and when they exceed their limit, they are punished by suffering. If they would always listen to that voice that says enough, they would avoid most of the ills they accuse nature of. This uh, the voice that says enough is our conscience saying, don't do this. You are pushing too far. You are going too far. And that is why is it's simple that we are always being warned. But a lot of times it's not easy to to hear these warnings and do what is appropriate because we are imperfect beings. 634. What may evil be found in the very nature of things? I'm speaking of moral evil. Couldn't God have created humankind under better moral conditions? We have already told you spirits are created simple and ignorant. See question 115. God leaves men and women to choose their own paths, and it is worse for them if they take the evil one. Their pilgrimage will be all the longer. If there were no mountains, humans would not understand that they can ascend and descend. If there were no rocks, they would not understand that they are hard objects. The spirit must acquire experience, and to do so, it must know good and evil. That is why there is a union of spirit and body. See question 119. 635. The different social positions create needs that are not the same for everyone. Is natural law, therefore, not a uniform rule for everyone? Such different positions exist in nature itself and are in accord with the law of progress. But this fact does not invalidate the unity of natural law, which applies to everything. Kardec's note. The condition of a person existence change according to time and place. Hence, the different needs and social positions corresponding to such needs. Since this diversity is in the very order of things, it conforms to God's law, which nonetheless continues to be one in principle. It thus falls to reason to distinguish between real needs and fictitious or conventional needs. So, when Kardec asked the spirits about the conditions of happiness, the spirits answers that we are here for limited happiness because we are imperfect beings, and we are in a world of trials and expiation. So we cannot have yet the happiness of a true perfect spirit. I think and the spirits also tell Kardec that for happiness on earth, we we just need, I will try to say, because in Portuguese I know very well, but in English sometimes it's difficult. Uh, we just need the things to live. So, for our real needs, not for the conventional needs, the fictitious needs, and we have to have faith in the future, and we have to do good to others. So the conscience must not accuse us for our wrongdoings. These, those are the three conditions of relative happiness on earth. I will stop here. I oh, I will ask. I will thank all of you for tuning in, for watching us. Forgive my poor English. Sometimes it's a little bit hard. And I will thank Jesus and the spirits that assists us on this task that we all perform with goodwill and true happiness in our hearts, because all the words that we say, all the things that we read are in first place for us, because everything we read something that we say it out loud, we internalize a part of it, and then we can perform our moral improvement, that are translation, are taking all these words and teachings and translate them into our actions. That is why we have this spiritual doctrine, this spiritist doctrine. Thank you all, and I'll ask Rosangela for our final prayer.
We thank the good spirits who have come to communicate with us and ask them to help us put into practice the instruction they have given us. We also hope they will ensure that each one of us at the end of this session is fortified in the practice of good and love for our neighbor. We also wish these lessons may be useful for the suffering, ignorant, or vicious spirits who will able to attend this meeting and for whom we implore the mercy of God. God bless you all.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you all. Have a good night.